She ran away from her own wedding, and everyone thought she had destroyed her life. But what happened after that day changed everything.
By the end of that day, the news had already spread far beyond the church. People were talking about it everywhere, at the market, even among church members who had not attended the ceremony. Everyone was repeating the same shocking story. The bride ran away. The wedding never happened. No one knows where she went. But for many people, it was just another story. But for Blessing's parents, it was something much deeper. The shame had fallen heavily on them. The house that had been filled with excitement only hours earlier now felt silent and heavy. Blessing's mother sat quietly in the living room, her eyes red from crying. "I don't understand," she said softly. "Why would she do this to us?" But deep down, there was a question no one was asking. What was she going through before she left? Her father remained silent. He could not answer. The situation became even worse when Toby's family arrived later that evening. His mother was furious. "This is an insult to our family," she said angrily. "Your daughter has disgraced us." Blessing's parents tried to speak, but the truth was they had no explanation. They didn't know where she was, and they didn't fully understand why she left. After several tense minutes, Toby's family finally left. But the damage had already been done. For the next few days, the rumors continued to grow. Some people blamed Blessing, others blamed her parents, some even blamed Toby. But very few people stopped to ask what really mattered. What pushed her to that decision? Late one night, Blessing's younger brother received a message. He looked at the screen. It was from Blessing. "I'm safe." He quickly replied, "Where are you?" A moment later, another message appeared. "I'll explain later." He stared at the message for a moment before locking his phone. At least one thing was clear. His sister had disappeared, but she was not lost. She had chosen a different path. Months passed. Life slowly moved on in Lagos, but Blessing did not return home. Instead, she started a new life in Port Harcourt, the city where her friend Ada lived. And starting over was not easy. Blessing stayed in Ada's small apartment while she adjusted to her new job. The work was demanding. The salary was modest. Some days, she returned home so tired she could barely eat before falling asleep. But even with all the struggle, something felt different. For the first time in a long time, Blessing felt in control of her own life. No one was planning her future for her. No one was forcing her into a life she did not want. And sometimes, that kind of freedom comes at a cost. But it is still worth it. Ada noticed the change in her friend. One evening, while they were having dinner, she smiled. "You've become stronger," she said. Blessing laughed softly. "I didn't have a choice." Ada shook her head gently. "No, you chose to start again. That takes courage." Blessing went quiet for a moment. Then she said honestly, "I almost married someone who would have made me miserable." Ada looked at her carefully. "But you didn't." And that simple truth meant everything. Weeks turned into months. Months slowly turned into years. Blessing worked hard and proved herself. Her supervisors began to notice. Opportunities came little by little. Eventually, she moved into a small apartment of her own. She was no longer the frightened woman who had run away from her wedding. She had become independent, confident, and stronger than she had ever been before. Sometimes she still thought about her family, especially her younger brother. They stayed in touch. He never judged her, He never blamed her. He simply wanted to know she was okay. And each time she replied, the message was the same. I'm doing fine. And now, it was true. Slowly, life began to feel peaceful again. For the first time in years, her life truly belonged to her. Life in Port Harcourt slowly became comfortable for Blessing. She had built a routine: walk during the day, quiet evenings at home, and occasional weekends with Ada. Years had passed. The pain she once carried had begun to fade. But something inside her had changed permanently. She no longer ignored red flags. She no longer settled. One afternoon at work, something simple happened. Blessing dropped some documents. Before she could pick them up, someone bent down to help her. "Let me help you with that," a calm voice said. She looked up. It was a man she had seen around but never spoken to. He handed the papers back with a small smile. "Thank you," she said. "No problem. I'm Michael." "Blessing." Michael nodded. "I know. I've seen you around." Blessing smiled slightly. "I hope that's a good thing." "It is," he said. "You always look focused." That was how it started. Nothing dramatic. Just a simple conversation. But sometimes the right people don't enter your life loudly. They come quietly. After that day, they began to see each other more often. Short conversations turned into longer ones. Work discussions turned into personal ones. And slowly, something began to build. Michael was different. He listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't try to impress her. He didn't try to control her. And after everything Blessing had experienced, that difference mattered. One afternoon during lunch, he asked, "What made you move here?" Blessing paused. Then she said, "I needed a fresh start." Michael nodded. "I understand." And he didn't ask more. That alone made her feel comfortable. Because sometimes respect is shown in what people don't force you to say. As months passed, their friendship grew deeper. They spent more time together, talked about life, goals, dreams. Michael admired her strength, and Blessing began to trust again. One evening as they walked home, Michael said, "Blessing, you are one of the strongest people I've met." Blessing looked at him. "Strong?" He nodded. "Yes, you built your life yourself. That's not easy." For the first time in years, those words didn't feel like pressure. They felt like understanding. And slowly, their friendship became something more. Not rushed, not forced, just natural. And for the first time, love felt peaceful. Several years had passed. Blessing had built a life she was proud of. But there was still one part of her life she had not faced: her family. One evening, Blessing and Michael were sitting together at a small restaurant after work. They had just finished dinner when Michael reached into his pocket. "Blessing," he said softly. She looked at him. "Yes?" Michael paused for a moment. "You've told me parts of your story." Blessing nodded slowly. "But I've also seen the person you've become. You're strong, hardworking, and honest." He placed a small box gently on the table. "I would like us to build a future together." Blessing's heart began to beat faster. Michael opened the box. Inside was a simple ring. "Will you marry me?" he asked. For a moment, Blessing could not speak. Memories flashed through her mind. The life she almost lived, the wedding she ran away from, and the journey that followed. But this moment felt different. This was not pressure or fear. It was a choice. Blessing smiled warmly. "Yes," she said. Michael's face lit up with joy. Later that night, as Blessing sat quietly in her apartment, a thought came to her mind. There was something she still needed to do. She had built a new life and found happiness again. But the past was still unfinished. If she was going to start a new chapter, she wanted peace in her heart. and that meant facing her parents. A few weeks later, Blessing returned to Lagos for the first time in years. Standing in front of her parents' house felt strange. So much had changed, but the memories were still there. She knocked on the door. For a moment, it opened. Her mother stood there. For a second, she just stared. Then her eyes widened. Blessing! Her father appeared behind her. Neither of them expected to see her again. For a moment, no one spoke. Then her mother stepped forward and hugged her tightly. We thought we lost you. Later that evening, they sat together in the living room. The silence between them was heavy at first. Finally, Blessing spoke. There are things I need to explain. Her parents listened quietly. Blessing told them everything. The insults, the embarrassment, the cheating, and the pain. And how she tried to tell them before the wedding. But you didn't listen, she said gently. Her parents lowered their eyes. Her father sighed deeply. We were wrong, he admitted. We thought we were securing your future. Her mother wiped her tears. We didn't realize we were pushing you into something that would hurt you. Blessing looked at them calmly. I didn't run away because I hated you, she said. I ran because I needed to save myself. Her parents nodded slowly. For the first time, they truly understood. And slowly, the distance between them began to disappear. Days later, Blessing said to them, There's someone I want you to meet. His name is Michael. Not long after, Michael came to Lagos. Her father asked him a few questions. Michael answered respectfully, and in that moment, they saw something different. Respect, patience, and genuine care. By the end of the visit, there was peace. Months later, the family gathered again for another wedding, but this time, everything was different. There was no pressure, no fear, only joy. As Blessing walked down the aisle, she was smiling, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. And in that moment, she knew she had chosen the life that truly belonged to her. In the years that followed, her life continued to grow. She became successful, independent, and fulfilled. Her parents changed too. They learned to respect her choices and trust her decisions. And what people once saw as shame became a story of courage. A reminder that sometimes the hardest decision a person can make is choosing the life that truly belongs to them. Not every opportunity is a blessing. And sometimes the courage to walk away is what saves your life. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe, like, and share for more stories. See you in the next video. Bye.